Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Dirtnation Off-Road. So today what we have for you is a much needed facelift for the Tacoma. Tacoma 2.0 is coming your way today. Maybe Tacoma 1.5. I think it needs a new wrap before we can say Tacoma 2.0, but we'll see how it looks by the end of this video and then we'll make that determination. But I digress. We have a front bumper, rear bumper, grills, and a variety of different lights that we picked up from Westin Automotive. Now, yesterday they dropped off a whole pallet of crap at my house, and I'm excited to get all this stuff opened up and show you guys exactly what we have. Now, we're gonna be installing this throughout this week because I can't get it all done in one day because we're working on some other projects with the Tacoma, which you'll see those videos probably down below, but we're gonna get this stuff cracked open, show you what we have, and then get what we can done today and then work on it throughout the week. But by the end of the video, this Tacoma is gonna look a lot different, so I'm really excited. Let's get to it, guys. Here is the gist of what we have. By the way, this is the old Thunderers and we have the rest of them over there, so we kept those. But anyways, we have our rear bumper, we have the grill, a bunch of lights, and then the rear bumper is right there. Now, the bumpers that we picked up is the Outlaw front bumper, and then we got the Outlaw rear bumper. So we're bougie today because we're getting matching bumpers. So this is gonna look pretty dope. We also got the Outlaw kit for the round lights, as well as we have the HDK LED grill, and then the Outlaw bumper skid plate, and then we have some other lights. Side note, don't pay attention to these 35-inch Thunderers. Yes, they look delicious, but they might not be for this truck. It might be for another truck. Stay tuned. All right, don't get mad at me, but I've switched to GoPro footage because this thing's a lot easier to handle in tight spaces, as well as, you know, when you're trying to set it down real quick, we want to make sure that we're able to do that. So we're gonna start cracking open all this stuff and we will show you all of the deliciousness. So up first, we got the Westin LED Performance 2X. It's available in all these different sizes. The one I picked up, I forgot what size I got. I don't know. This is a big old MFer. So big old light bar, good stuff. We got a couple pod lights. I think these are for the rear bumper. I have to look at them, but these are the FM40s. Auxiliary flash mount 3W. So if these are, depending on if this is the front or the rear, probably gonna do some amber lighting on these. Some 3M tape to make them look dope, but look at them on that JK. Looks pretty nice. Ooh. Damn, look at this grill, people. Damn, that's a heavy bastard. Please stop. Last try with the GoPro. Then I'm just not recording anything. You guys don't get a video. But this grill is hefty. That is badass. Woo! I am excited. These aren't blue, these are white. You just got to peel these off, but I'll leave them on for now. Like I said, it's the HDX. It's got Westin engraved on there, which is really dope. Has all your electrical connections right here. So I'm guessing there's some kind of hub thing that you could buy to get everything hooked up, but this is dope. Okay, to get the grill off, we got two 10s, and then there's two clips that need to come off, and I believe this whole thing will just pull right off. I've taken it off before, but it's been like 2 years. I have the other one over there somewhere, so let's take this off. And just like that, our front bumper is out, or our front grill is out. Okay, we're gonna get started first with the grill. Instructions say, you know, pull off your stock grill, which that's what I did over there, and then you take a Phillips and you're gonna pull off all these screws right here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know, there's a bunch of them. So we're gonna pull off all these screws, and then these clips come out so that you can take the grill off, and then you're gonna keep the center, or the outside section, which is, you know, the same color as the paint. All right, so I got this taken apart. So this is the only piece that you're gonna need. I cleaned mine up a little bit. I'll clean it up a little better once we do a first video shoot with the truck. But next thing you gotta do is drill out some holes for these right here. So it says to use a 7/16. Well, I don't have a 7/16 in my crappy Harbor Freight one. So what I'm going to do is drill these out a little bit, going each size up until they fit in there. So you just do it through this hole, it's all the holes that match up with these bolts right here. So slowly piecing this together, As you see, I got the holes in there. Kind of got to remount the holes a little bigger, which is fine because you got pretty good hardware to hold it all together. But drilling out the holes slowly and then lining up everything in there. So it's almost completely on. I'm gonna start putting some hardware, tightening it all up, and then we'll put it back on there. So there's our finished product. So got everything bolted in. It's good to go. I'm gonna put it back on the truck now. Front grille is on. We're gonna end up doing the bumper another day. I'm gonna attempt to do the rear bumper right now. Let's get it. I'm gonna start with taking off my rear bumper. Now, a lot of you guys don't have this bumper, so I'm not gonna show the entire process. You know, it's a lot different than a stock bumper. It's just pretty much unbolting the thing. The stock bumper, you gotta deal with a lot of other things. So I'm gonna start taking this thing off. Look at how bent my hitch is. Good times. But yeah, this is coming off. The Outlaw bumper will be a little more high clearance. It's a steel bumper as well. But the good thing is that the hitch is now gonna come up inside the bumper. Has the same tow rating as stock. But it gives you a lot more clearance because I'm smacking this thing all the time. So I'm gonna have all this right here extra. All right, so we're on to the next day. I didn't get much finished yesterday. I got the grill in, and what I did was took off my rear bumper right here. So took off the rear bumper as well as the hitch. And what we're gonna be doing right now is installing the high clearance Outlaw hitch from Westin, which goes with this Outlaw bumper right here. So the bumper itself has about the same amount of clearance as the bumper that I had, which I had the Fab 4 steel bumper. But the benefits is I had the stock tow hitch system. This hitch system right here has another 5 to 6 inches of ground clearance, which means every time I was hitting rocks right underneath here, I'm gonna have all this space open so that, because the hitch will be sitting right here parallel with the frame. Well, not parallel, but even with the frame right here. In addition, this bumper has some plugins for lights. So you can take out these mesh little things right here, and it has some lights that you can insert into there. So we also got the lights. So we'll be putting those on and getting those wired up so that I have some pretty cool, I mean, they won't really work well as chase lights, but they'll be good for those night runs. Because, you know, we like to party at night too. So this is gonna look pretty dope. So we're gonna start putting this on. Got George and Flacco on the way so that we can get started on the rear bumper, as well as try and put it on our front bumper and get all that taken care of today. So see how it goes. Look who showed up. Pinchy Flacco showed up. And then we had another Joto over here. Hey, are you sponsored by Monster?
No, Body Armor today.
Body Armor today. Body Armor. I'm sponsored by Super Joint Ritual. Not affiliated. Me and Flacco are gonna start putting on the hitch. George is gonna measure for the cutting, and then we'll record the cutting. We'll show you guys the measurements so you guys do your own damn cuts.
Do you have a big ratchet way?
Yeah, I do.
I'm not gonna tighten it. I was gonna.
Yeah, just because we'll have to move it around.
Yeah.
Which one?
This one.
We're gonna do the bottom one first? Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4 nuts as well as bolts with spacers, and I'll show, what are those called? Crush washers? See, crush washers. Those are for to mount the bumper on. So those are the 4. They have different threading, so, and they're a little shorter. So that's how you know it's the 4 that are different that go with the nuts. So we're gonna start putting this bumper on, and then at that point we can start to maneuver it around a little bit, and then we'll start to tighten everything up, and then we'll hook up the hitch system as well as put in the lights.
Use your legs, fool. Watch out.
Nah, I want to drop it, fool. That's a good video.
Oh, like that fucking.
Yeah, the slider?
Ándale. Sí, güey.
Yeah.
So
17?
it's
So you do it open then?
3/4. It's a little bit loose, so it's 8.
All right, so starting to get the bumper on. Quick note, we made a mistake. These little caps right here, which there's 2 Allen bolts with a nut on the other side. It's better to put these on before you mount the bumper because tightening these is gonna be a little bit of a pain in the butt. And we got one on that side right there. Flacco's working on tightening it. But it's better to do it before you put the bumper on. But right now, we do have it on. We're gonna get these tightened up. And then we're gonna start tightening all the bolts in here and then start doing all the wiring as well as the license plate tray thing that goes on here. It's actually pretty cool. I'll show you that right now. And then this is also the this is for your, what's it called, your towing electronic stuff. I'm gonna put that on as well. License plate mounted up, as you see. Now that's a pretty cool feature, so it just lifts up so you can use your tow hitch. And then we're gonna work on doing the wiring, so there's some things we have to do right there for that, as well as the tow hitch electronics, which I'm gonna mount right now, and then I'm gonna put the lights in, and we'll get started on that. But just to give you guys some info, I'll crop in right there. So the Westin bumper, so the carrying weight is 600 pounds, weight distribution 1,000 pounds, and then the tow rating for the hitch is 6,000 pounds, but you can evenly distribute 10,000 pounds on it. So this sucker's just as strong as factory, which is pretty nice. And then as you can see, it's a lot higher up. Normally the hitch is down here, so I have all this extra clearance right here. You've seen it before on like previous you know, Gold Mountain videos where I get hung up right here. Now I'm not going to be dealing with that. I got a lot more clearance. Plus we'll have some tires on soon to have even more clearance. This is it right here. The only thing we have to do is wire these lights. For now, we zip tied them. We're gonna look through all the wiring harnesses that we have and see if we have the one that's ready to go for this one. But both those lights in, it's mounted up, and then we have this ready to go, and then this is mounted up, as well as there is a little light in here. Where is it? Oh, this light strip right here. When you turn on your lights, this is the one that illuminates your license plate. So actually keeps it street legal, so which is pretty cool. But other than that, this is all done, ready to go. And then we're finishing the front bumper right now, and then that's it for all the Westin front rear bumpers and front grille. Awesome.
Okay, so we got into the front bumper. Excuse the little darkness, but Dustin and them are working on the back bumper. So the front Westin bumper that we got requires you to pretty much remove the front end. It's relatively easy. There's 4 clips here, there's a couple clips up here, and then a couple 10s there, and a couple 10s at the bottom. Once you take those off, you do have to come on this side and remove, you know, the fender flares, the stock ones. They're pretty easy. You just remove the 10 bolts and then you pull them off. You have to do it careful though, because it does have glue, and then these clips do break easily. But once those are off and everything is unbolted, you remove everything. We did both sides. And then what you have to do is remove this aluminum, pretty much like bumper support, I guess you can say. And then that comes off, and then you put your regular bumper back on, and then you get ready to cut. And then once you cut, then you can, you know, test fit the new bumper on there. So just wanted to show you guys what it looks like once it's off. Again, excuse the lighting, it's a little bad, but that's the front end. She's bare, naked, showing all her front tooth. We put the bumper back on. Now that we've removed that aluminum piece that's right behind it, the bumper support came off. I'll show you guys over here. So that's basically where it's at now. We set up some tape just to kind of give you a line where we're going to cut. When you look online on Westin's page, it gives you some measurements. We set it just a tad below, and then we're going to cut even lower than that. So that way, as you measure up the bumper, you can cut accordingly so it could, you know, be flush instead of cutting it too early. And then if you make a mistake, then you're kind of screwed. If you give yourself some space, then you can cut into it a little bit more. So we did that to both sides. We're going to use the Dremel, and we're going to start chopping. I just gave Dustin the cutter. I don't know why.
I don't know why either.
But
oh, it's your truck. You have to cut it.
It is his truck, though. Don't you
He wants
agree?
the side that he sits on to look like crap.
Look, you can't even see you, bro. Comment below if he's the one that should be cutting his own truck. Let's get it. I guess someone should go put his glasses on so he can't see shit. Get it.
Should I have a longer blade, or I'm good?
No, there's no longer blade, fool. The demo. And it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
You do not need a mask like that to do this, but we're using one because we're extra safe. Yeah, for all you guys that think we're just reckless, check us out now.
Yeah.
We just did safety training the other day, so. Alright, so there's the final product. Let's see if the light will help out. It gives you clearance on this side, pretty much all the way across. It's starting to look pretty sweet. Again, we cut at the black line, not at the blue line, so that way it gives us another ½ inch or so we can play with once we mount the bumper. So the bumper comes in pretty nice, nicely boxed. Little strap, they drop it off in a pallet. It's just kind of nice. Labeled up.
And can't see those.
And it goes up. Ooh, but there it is.
Dang, look at that's where the lights go.
Yep.
The inserts. Woo! See, really this nice. Is high clearance, baby. So we have a light bar. We have circular pod lights that go in this mesh section, kind of like the rear bumper. It goes on both, so it's gonna have 4 lights plus a light bar that mounts in here.
And it looks like it has an insert here. Or no, that's the front. This is Westin. Oh.
Yeah, we gotta get a Dirtnation one.
It just says juicy stuff on it.
It says Westin.
But the actual finish is really nice. Same as the rear bumper. It looks like it's, you know, the normal metal finish they put on all the bumpers. Another good thing that Westin does is they give you a paper copy. A lot of companies make you download the flyer, but they give you step-by-step instructions. And that's what the Outlaw bumper looks like, and it's awesome. It gives you a lot of clearance. Once we put it up there, it's gonna make such a big difference. So it's pretty awesome. One other thing they do really well is they package everything nice, so nothing gets scratched. If you guys are, you know, on that, they code everything correctly, package everything individually. That's important because a lot of times they put things together and everything gets all beat up and scratched. Not Westin. They did a good job packaging everything. Everything has marks on it. It's pretty awesome. So we started installing the brackets of where the bumper's gonna go. So that's what it looks like when it's on. Basically, you use the platform they give you for the back to kind of give it extra support on the frame, and then you put a washer
and a lock washer.
A washer. No, it doesn't fit the lock washer.
This doesn't fit? What do you mean?
It's too short.
Okay.
And then once you put a washer in each one, you're gonna grab the actual bracket for the bumper, and then you put that on. All right, so once we mounted them, the instructions actually say to put these brackets on the actual bumper first. So we took them off. Again, this is why we told you guys not to tighten them, just in case you decide to read the instructions and do it correctly. Those brackets actually go on the bumper. We put them on the bumper first, then you mount the bumper, and it makes it easier for you to just bolt those on.
We're going to sand down the edges on the bottom, and then we have to put the fender flares back on, cut those, and then sand it. Make sure this is all smooth, and then we're going to throw the bumper back on, start to tighten everything down, and then look at that skid plate as well as do the front grille again. All right, going to give you guys a very brief update because the last you saw of us, we were chopping the front bumper, this front bumper right over here, in the garage. It was starting to get dark and our Dremel blade was getting a little dull, so wasn't too much of a fan of the cuts that we were getting, so we stopped. We did mount the bumper, and then we have some other things that we have to get taken care of, which is all this stuff right here. So we have the Westin skid plate that we have to put on, rock lights, the front lights, the light bar, and then this is all the brackets and doodads for everything right here. Took off my fender flares because those were having an issue with something else, which you guys are going to notice, so I'll just talk about it right now. 35s on the Tacoma with method wheels. Don't worry, we have a side video for that. You can find it in the description below. How did we cram 35s underneath the Tacoma with the same suspension we've been running? You'll find out here. But this is where we're at with the bumper. As I said, it needs a little bit of work before I can be comfortable with it, but the bumper is mounted, grill is mounted, and we're having some issues with rubbing and everything, so that's why I took off the fender guards for now. I might leave them off, it just depends on how things go. Doing some more work on the Westin bumper. Right now we're working on the front grill, so The good thing is this is plug and play. They provide all the wiring that you need. So there's one wiring harness right here, has a switch. We're gonna run it through to the firewall, and then I have some switches that are gonna mount inside the truck. Obviously wired up to the battery. And then for the grill, they provide you with one that plugs and plays just for right here. It's those universal plugs. I'll show you those right now, but it has 1, 2, 3 of those. Run it underneath, and then do it as you please. We have a lot more wiring for a lot of this stuff for the pod lights, the rock lights, and they use these standard connections, which are pretty nice because they have like a weatherproof little seal on there. So those will work pretty well. But we're still doing that. Still got to put on the front skid plate as well as the light bar, which is right here. And then we're gonna do some additional trimming on the bumper. We're gonna do some additional trimming on the bumper, and then possibly put the fender guards back on. I don't know, I kind of like how it looks right now. It rubs a lot less with the 35s, but we're doing our thing. There's our cut. I kind of just want to run it like this. Look at all this clearance. All right, we might be able to finish this Westin install today. George working on the pod lights, getting those wired up. So just doing your typical, there's your male connector. Oh, cool. Male connector, using, you know, that stuff with heat shrink and all that. You guys know wiring a lot better than I do. But then Paul's working on, get the fenders back on. I don't know how that happened, but I got a nice little ding right there.
Yeah, you can't see it.
Yeah. But these cuts though, this is a cut. Very nice. So throw that bumper back on, get this wired up, light bar, and then this, and then we wrap the video. Did you set up the bolts already? Oh, shit, that was quick. Alright, I'm gonna turn on the lights. Let me know if those pods come on.
Dude! Yeah! Fucking did it!
It works?
Yes.
This all comes with instructions, which is very easy to follow, even though we're not showing you guys directly. We're noobs, just like you. If we can figure it out, you can figure it out.
We need IKEA directions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Front bumper is entirely on with the skid plate. Last thing we have to do is this light bar right here. So there is a variety of different brackets and things that you have to put together. Luckily, the instructions that come with the bumper are pretty good. So you just follow those, use the bolts and torque them to the correct specs, then you're gonna be good to go. But this thing's on here pretty darn solid now. Light bar is on and we are complete. We got everything installed. Everything's good to go. For the stuff that I missed footage on, I mean, like I said, it's pretty easy to install. You just have to follow directions. If I can do it, you guys can do it just fine. So no worries there. Just follow the directions that they provide. Everything is plug and play in terms of the lights, as well as, you know, all the light bars. They all come with wiring harnesses. They all plug in. They all go straight to the battery, and they have their own switches. I bought a switch panel that I'm going to put inside the truck. But as of right now, these are wired and these are wired. And then once the switch comes, I'm going to wire this one as well. As for the fog lights, we're able to wire these to the stock fog lights so that on your turn signal, when you turn that on, these will turn on as well, which is a pretty cool feature that I was able to get those wired up. Now, the only lights that I didn't get put on were the rock lights. I'll make a separate video and we'll be able to show you guys where we're going to do with the rock lights, because I'm not sure if I'm going to put them underneath the slider or if I'm going to put them in the wheel well. Wheel well seems cool, so I can work on the truck at night if it breaks. Underneath the slider, I kind of like that so it can illuminate the floor as we're, you know, wheeling and doing night runs and stuff. So I haven't decided yet, but once we install those, we'll make a video and you guys will see that here. But that's it for the video. That's our install of the Westin Outlaw rear bumper, Outlaw front bumper with light bar and circular light pods, as well as the HDX front grille, all from Westin Automotive. So we'll link all that stuff below so you guys can check it out. Really impressed with the quality of these and how easy they were to install. As you guys know, I suck at installing stuff, and it was pretty easy for me to do it with a little help from George as well as Paul. They helped with cuts and you know, picking up the heavy stuff. But shout out to them for helping out, and shout out to Westin for helping us out with this build. If you guys are interested in seeing how the Tacoma's on 35s with the methods and all that stuff, we'll link that video below so you guys can check that out, as well as a 10K special, which we're recording tomorrow. So this video will be after that. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channels, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Patreon. Also hit us up for shirts at dirtnationoffroad@gmail.com. But other than that, thank you guys. See you again next time.